We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast. The German news agency Transocean said during the broadcast.
Here's another late development, and this news keeps coming in as we're talking here.
What is up, Kryptonians? Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. This is technically my second video that I've made in 2023. I put my last review of 2022 on January 1st. First of all, I just wanted to thank anybody who watched my channel during 2022 or anybody who's tuned into my channel over the last few years. I've been doing this since like 2016, 2017 or something like that. I appreciate every view, every click, every subscriber that I get. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best, and I'm gonna do my best to be better for you in terms of giving out good content this year. These are my 10 favorite films that I saw all of last year. It's not objectively the best movies. These are just the movies that resonated the most with me. But before we get into the official top 10 list, you guys know the drill. I gotta hand out my honorable mentions first. If I was doing a top 20 list, they would probably make that list. But since you guys checked the title on the way in and it says top 10, not top 20, well, then they have to be honorable mentions. Wakanda Forever, The Black Phone, After Yang, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, The Menu, Bones and All, Violent Night, Athena, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and All Quiet on the Western Front. I didn't even do a review for some of those movies, didn't have time, unfortunately. And you saw how good those movies are, so you can bet your ass that the top 10 is gonna knock your socks off. If it doesn't knock your socks off, I'm hoping it at least makes like your toes tingle or something, or I don't know, makes your back itch. Like, I'm hoping it has some kind of reaction on you, and I'm hoping that you guys can give me an awesome list at the end of the video too. Without further ado, once again, cracking my fingers for absolutely no reason, didn't even work that time. Let's get into the top 10 list, starting with number 10. If this movie wasn't going to be on my top 10 list, then my nose was going to grow as long as his does. And I, of course, am talking about Pinocchio. More specifically, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This is a stop motion masterpiece, kind of. This movie has tragedy, it has maturity, it has darkness, it has great voice work. This movie hands out bar after bar after bar of great life lessons that both kids and adults can take something away from. Way, way better than that other Pinocchio movie that we don't need to acknowledge or spend a lot of time talking about. Guillermo del Toro knocked it out of the park with this Pinocchio movie, and it comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is a film that kind of shocked and surprised me with how good it was, and I'm also kind of shocked and surprised that it's not on a lot of other people's top 10 lists. But whatever, film is subjective, I get it, everybody has different opinions and stuff. But for me, Prey was absolutely one of the highlights of 2022 for me. This is a film that has everything that you would want in a Predator movie. It kind of takes Predator back to its roots in a way, and it kind of grounds it in a really great setting with great characters, great action and suspense. You have this Comanche warrior, this girl who is doubted by almost everybody that she comes into contact with, but once again, just like Arnold in the original Predator, has to kind of use her wits and outsmart the Predator in order to defeat it. Those are the best type of Predator movies to me, the ones that have tactics and strategy, where it's cunning warrior versus cunning warrior. It's about intellect and survival, and it's not just a generic monster movie. Set it in like feudal Japan or something, I don't know, set it in a different time span. Whatever the case may be, Prey was fucking awesome. How could The Batman not make my list? The Batman was easily, hands down, the best comic book movie of 2022. I will grant you that this says more about the sad state of comic book movies in 2022, or at least the inconsistency of the comic book movies in 2022. There were a few good ones that popped out. This movie was a detective story. It was a 3-hour grind of investigations and clues and suspense. The atmosphere that was created for this movie was absolutely nuts. Robert Pattinson knocked it out of the park as Batman. I loved his interactions with Gordon. The movie has some good action here or there. It's one of the best comic book movie scores ever composed. If the Batman 2 is going to be anywhere close to as good as the Batman was, I would say Matt Reeves has us in pretty good hands, just like the State Farm commercial. Or is that Progressive? No, I'm pretty sure it's State Farm. I can't remember which commercial it is, but whichever one has us in good hands. That's Matt Reeves for you. Some people compared this movie to Gladiator when it first came out. I don't think it's as good as Gladiator. I'm not gonna go that far. I also think The movie should have been rated R to really accentuate the violence in it. But The Woman King just kicked so much ass, bro. It really did. The action sequences slap throughout. Like, there's just so many memorable sequences. When I think about the best action that 2022 had to offer, The Woman King had a lot of sequences that I fell in love with. But I also fell in love with the score. I fell in love with the performances. Viola Davis, what more can you say at this point? Viola Davis, I can't say that Viola Davis is him, but you know how a basketball player shoots a shot and says, I'm him? Okay, Viola Davis is her. Everybody in the cast was great. The costumes were great. Everything about the movie left me feeling triumphant and satisfied. Just pride. And I just love the way everything in this movie came together. The Banshees of Inisherin, which is a movie that I wasn't sure if I was gonna be on board with the premise of this movie. If you think about it, it's really just a movie about one guy deciding not to be friends with the other guy and the other guy freaking out about it. But you know what? That made for a really entertaining premise. This movie was funny as hell. This movie had some surprising darkness to it that I wasn't expecting. This movie had some deeper themes that it wanted to explore about life and legacy and loneliness, and all of that is handled really well. It's one of the best screenplays of the year. Combine that with the cinematography and the score and the performances from Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, Carrie Condon, Barry Keoghan. I mean, this movie was just firing on all cylinders. I was hooked onto every word start to finish. Number 5, we have a movie that I actually didn't get a chance to review. No, I did not review this movie during the year. I wanted to, and I had a time scheduled to do it, but it just never happened for me. Having said that, you guys know that Top Gun Maverick is an absolute banger. Almost everybody that I've talked to about this movie, even if you're not a huge fan of Top Gun from like the 80s or whatever, you still tune into this movie. You're like, okay, you know what? That was a fucking bang. It's just one of those feel-good, genuine, sincere type of movies. It has real emotion, great performances, it has a good score. The flying sequences are just, oh my God. Joseph Krasinski, I think that's his name, he dominated this movie in terms of how he decided to film the jet sequences, the action sequences where these jets are just flying all over the place. One of those blockbusters that reminds you of why you love blockbusters in the first place in terms of how it's made and how it's executed. This was one of my last reviews of 2022, and from the moment that I reviewed it, I'm pretty sure everybody could tell that this movie was gonna make my list. I may have gotten wet while watching the movie, and I, of course, am talking about Avatar: The Way of Water. It's James Cameron unleashed. It's everything that you love about a James Cameron movie. The visuals are stupid, like, not stupid like they're just stupid in terms of I don't know how the fuck they pulled this off. Staggering visuals, amazing cinematography and CGI and visual effects. The visual language of this movie sang a song to me, and it was a beautiful song. The story in this movie, while it's simple, it brings a lot more emotion than the previous Avatar movie did. I was invested in the family, I was invested in the emotion, and I'm invested in the world and how they decided to lay out this lore going into the sequels that we have coming out. I've seen Avatar: Way of Water like 5 times at this point. Bring on Avatar 3. I heard the story is gonna go in some really interesting directions. I cannot wait for 2024. Coming down the stretch of 2022, I started to think about all the movies that I was watching. I was like, is this movie really going to miss out on being in my top 5? Nope, it was never going to miss out on being in my top 5. I, of course, am talking about Nope and being really corny while doing it. Nope is Jordan Peele's version of Jaws. It's a suspenseful sci-fi horror movie with some outstanding cinematography and visuals. It actually does a great job at being subtle and not so subtle about the way that it breaks down spectacle. Spectacle in entertainment at any cost, spectacle for the sake of spectacle, spectacle at the cost of safety, at the cost of humanity. Jordan Peele lays down these themes with a lot of memorable sequences in this movie and a lot of striking imagery. The monkey scene is just one of the things in 2022 that I'm just never gonna forget. Is there any limit to what this man is capable of when it comes to cinema? The answer, of course, is nope. Coming in at number 2, these movies flip-flopped a couple of times, but either way, I feel pretty satisfied about where they ended up. The Northman was epic. It had the perfect mix of everything that I would want in a movie. The Northman had some dark fantasy in it. The Northman had some amazing imagery and some really freaky shit going on in terms of like supernatural stuff. A bombastic score. This movie had a lot of anger and violence and stuff, and I shouldn't sound like I'm praising that stuff, but it was really well done in the movie. If you're looking for great epic action, you're looking like a Viking story for revenge, you get that for sure. It's immersive. It brings you into this world. It brings you into these characters. The Northman is just raw, unfettered power and rage and spectacle, and I loved every single minute of it, and I think Robert Eggers did an incredible job, and it's also probably his most accessible movie. As accessible and awesome as The Northman is, it did not come in at number one. Number one, I present to you. When it came to my emotions with this movie, I felt like I was experiencing everything. And I felt like I was just everywhere in the world, and I felt like I was feeling this all at once. I know you guys just rolled your eyes because, yeah, I'm corny as shit, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is my favorite movie of 2022. Emotionally, no movie in 2022 impacted me the way that Everything Everywhere All at Once did. Michelle Yeoh, I love her. I would die for this woman. I don't know if I would actually die for her, but I would probably take like a bullet to the shoulder for her. She was sensational and badass in this movie. The relationship at the core of this movie with her and her daughter has great action sequences and fight sequences, and they're very creative and inventive with the way that they lay them down. More importantly, when it comes to like the deeper themes that this movie has about family and about appreciating the life that you have and not taking the people in your life for granted, that shit just, it hit me to my core and it resonated with me. And that combined with the insane unpredictability and the wackiness and the wild stuff that happened in the rest of the movie, it's just a perfect combination of cinema to me. And Everything Everywhere All at Once is my favorite film of 2022. That is my list for my top 10 favorite movies of 2022. What is your list? Give me your list in the comment section down below. Let's compare lists. I hope you guys got some good ones. Please stay tuned. I got a busy week coming up and a lot of things I'm going to be announcing for the direction of the channel going forward, as well as a second channel that I'm going to be working on. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.